I'm Jay.
I'm Sean.
And today we're talking about the movie Onward, Pixar's newest film, to be released next weekend. It's coming up.
Very soon.
Yes. Like all animated films, you start seeing trailers for them like a year and a half out. But here we are, finally. Onward is coming out. Are you excited?
I am. Yeah, it really did seem like even longer than usual from when the trailers to this first started. Mm-hmm. They were very vague at the beginning, as they often are. But I am excited to see how it has sort of taken shape.
Okay. I think, like most people, Pixar has just sort of earned the benefit of the doubt, and you just think, well, it's Pixar, so it's gonna be good. And I do believe that, and I am excited to see the movie. But I feel like the trailer has left a lot of us not super excited. I'm not sure that the trailer is showing it off to its fullest potential or baiting us like it should. But I was reading a lot of stuff this week about the movie and like just the process, the creative process behind it, because I love to learn about that stuff. And that probably got me more excited than anything I've really seen in advertising.
Okay, well that's unfortunate, I think, as far as the trailer goes.
Agreed, yeah.
It hasn't done its job.
Mm-hmm. So I was reading about Dan Scanlon, who is the director. He did Monsters University.
Okay.
And he lost his father when he was just a year old. So he grew up without that presence in his life. And he said, you know, he's sitting in the creative room with a bunch of writers, and he said a lot of ideas for movies come out of questions, asking questions. And some of the questions he's posed himself really all his life, I suppose, is, you know, who was my father? Like, what kind of a man was he? And am I like him? And I think those kinds of questions really got them thinking down that path. And so if you don't know, the movie is about a boy named Ian who is turning 16, voiced by Tom Holland. And on his 16th birthday, he gets to cast a spell. So it is a magical land that they live in. It is not quite like ours. He gets this opportunity to cast a spell. He does a visitation spell, and he's so excited, he thinks he can bring his dad back, at least for a day. But he's not very good at this. He's inexperienced, and he ends up bringing back only half of his dad.
Uh-oh.
And not the good half. The bottom half. The bottom half. So he and his older brother Barley, that's voiced by Chris Pratt, go on this quest because there is, you know, I don't know, some magic gemstone that they have to find somewhere in this universe in order to have an opportunity maybe to complete the spell. So of course they're just motivated by those very questions. Like, he doesn't remember his father. He doesn't know what he was like, the sound of his voice, what he smelled like, what his hands were like. And he just wants to know those things. And I think that's something that's probably very emotional. And Pixar does that very well in a lot of movies. They hit in those places. They hit you in the heartstrings a lot of the time.
They do.
And they do it really well. They're very good at that, of mixing sort of light stuff and darker stuff and taking us to a place that I think not that long ago we were not used to from cartoons.
No, I think that's been their strength and what's made them stand out. And now other studios have tried to take that same approach with mixed results, but there have been some good animated movies. I think of How to Train Your Dragon, that series, where they also deal with some pretty grown-up themes. And they don't shy away from that stuff, whether it be death or the loss, a missing parent, or, you know, that sort of thing.
Well, that is a good franchise to think of, especially in this context. What I really like about this movie is thinking about this half dad that they have now. I don't know if half a dad is better than no dad, but the challenge to animators is that it's just empty pants. But this is a Pixar movie, so how do you make the pants express itself? How do pants show emotion? Well, you know it will.
Yeah.
It's not out yet, so we don't know. But these are really particular, unique challenges that I don't know that many people have attempted before. Certainly not to this extent.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there is another movie where legs are emoting.
Yes, well, fair enough. But these pants are a whole character. And they're a placeholder for a father that he's never known. So whether or not you get the whole dad, you have to do the best with what you've got, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in The Fellowship, which apparently is just a bunch of random Pixar employees who are self-declared fantasy geeks.
Okay.
And so they got together to really sort of spitball about the magic in this movie. So they've described the universe that they live in as about 70% reality, or familiar, I guess I'll say. Familiar to us in a universe we live in and understand, and 30% fantastical. So they don't, want to take it completely out of our experience and make it totally alien. So they really have said that a really quick and easy way of doing that was to throw a troll in the scene somewhere.
Okay.
So keep your eyes out when you see this. There will be a troll in almost every frame. But they don't want to make it obvious because a troll is a big, grumpy character that sucks a lot of energy out of the scene when you put him in. So they have them like half hidden. It's really like an Easter eggy thing. So keep your eye out for all the trolls. There are, of course, lots of other fantastical elements, and those I think we have seen a little bit of in the trailer, and it's fun to see how that will work in. But back to this idea of the fellowship, these people sitting around the table, getting to decide what magic looks like. So how big is magic? What color is magic?
Yeah.
And how does it change depending on the person who's doing it and their confidence or their intentions? So all of these things they get to play with. And I was really thinking, I don't know what the answers, again, we haven't seen the movie, but I was just really sort of thinking about the magic that we've seen, and like I thought of Jafar and Aladdin and how that magic really feels red, but he is a villain, so for him, it's evil magic, right?
Yep.
And then you think of the fairy godmother, and hers is blue. And I think that's just interesting when you think of Star Wars, for example. I don't think we can really call lightsabers magic, but obviously,
but it's the same thing.
Yes, there's a force, an extra thing that's, I guess, maybe not that unlike magic.
No, it's magic in a different...
In a way, yeah. So I just think it's really interesting that they get to invent magic themselves and decide how it's going to be in this particular movie, because they don't want to do something you've seen a million times before. They want to keep it exciting and fresh, and Pixar has a really high bar, right? So I just love this idea. And so they really pulled out 3 steps in a spell.
Oh.
So again, like we've seen some magic, obviously with Harry Potter. Magic was a big thing for a while, and it's got the new, what's that spin-off?
Oh, Fantastic Beasts.
Thank you. So it's, we're not really out of the Harry Potter world yet. So magic is an exciting thing. So they've really pulled out 3 steps, really, or 3 components of a spell. So the first one is the heart's fire. So you have to have like a passion or a desire that brings your spell to life.
Okay.
So you have to be putting almost a wish that your heart makes. And then you've got the magic decree. So basically, if you're doing a more advanced spell, you need to have like the right mindset. You need to be in that space. So that one obviously can be difficult for a newbie magician who's just turned 16 to pull that off, and I think also it maybe kind of changes whether things are good or bad or dark magic, what your own intentions and your own feelings are that you're putting into the spell. And then the assist element. So that might be a special ingredient that you are adding to the spell for a particular thing that you want to do. And in their case, they are going out, they need a phoenix gem. So this is particular to their visitation spell, where they're getting their father to come back for the day. So that's the element that is driving them to leave home, the two brothers out in their van, and go find this element. So they're obviously very motivated by the loss of their parent, and my goodness, the temptation to bring him back, to think that you could do that for someone who grew up without that presence is, a huge driving force, I'm sure.
Well, and maybe more motivating when you only have half of them back. You gotta finish the
Well,
job.
maybe so. I think that's just, it sort of whets the appetite for more, You're so close, and you're getting the taste of it, and that feels good. And probably it does motivate you to really want that other half.
Especially if your dad's legs are very emotive, I guess.
Yes. You want the part that can hug you back, I guess. So we are having our nephews and niece over next weekend.
Yeah.
Should we wait and see it with them, do you think?
I mean, that's good in theory. Will we be able to wait? I guess that's really the question.
Okay, fair enough. And they probably just want to go to the trampoline park.
Yeah, they have all sorts of ideas, yes.
Yes.
They want to do everything.
Yes, that's
and who can blame them? I mean, they only have so much time before they just grow up and
or their dads die.
No. Oh, no.
No. Everyone is in good health.
Yes. And they better be. Because aren't we next in line?
Ooh. So either way, we are going to be seeing this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You're
I'm into it.
Okay.
I am. I mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, but that's maybe a different place to
Are
come
you
at
trying
it.
to talk me out of this movie?
See, that's the thing. I think the fantasy elements are really interesting, especially when they are mixing them, where it is, as you said, familiar stuff, where they just live in subdivisions, but also, you get to cast a spell when you're 16. So I think there's really a lot of potential there for them to kind of make it fun.
Excellent. Okay. Well, we don't have long to wait. So hopefully we can, get over the small hump of the trailer maybe not being as engaging as it should have been. And we'll bring you the review next week, see what we think.
Let's do it.
Bye for now.
Bye.